You know, there are some mysteries in history that just stick around for centuries, right? Well, this is one of them. A story that has fascinated people for nearly 3,000 years. And today, we're going to solve it.
So, what's the big deal? Well, here it is. A huge group of people, the 10 northern tribes of ancient Israel, just poof. They seemingly vanish from the historical record. So what happened? Were they actually lost? Wiped out? Or is the real story something else entirely?
Okay, to get to the bottom of this, we've got to jump in a time machine and head way back. We're talking the 8th century BCE. The scene is the ancient Near East. And let me tell you, it was a tough neighborhood, a really brutal world of giant empires rising and falling. And right in the middle of it all, you've got these two powers, and they are absolutely on a collision course. You've got the heavyweight champion of the world and this tiny little kingdom just trying to stay on its feet.
I mean, look at this. The power imbalance is just staggering. It's a total David and Goliath situation. On one side, you have the Neo-Assyrian Empire. These guys were the superpower of their time, a ruthless, unstoppable military machine that wanted one thing: total domination. And then you've got the little kingdom of Israel. They had their own problems, lots of political drama. Their goal wasn't taking over the world, it was just, surviving to see another day. And the thing about the Assyrians is they weren't just strong, they were smart. Yeah, their army was legendary and they were masters of psychological warfare. But here's the key, and you gotta remember this part. They had this one unique tactic. They didn't just conquer you. They would literally pick up your entire population and move you somewhere else. We're talking mass deportations on a scale nobody had ever seen before. So you can probably see where this is going. We're at the point of no return. The small kingdom makes a huge, fateful decision. They decide to poke the bear, to stand up to the superpower, a rebellion where the stakes could not be higher. And you have to ask, right? Why? Why on earth would you risk everything to challenge these guys? Were they just desperate, or maybe a little too confident? Well, it turns out it was all a calculated high-stakes gamble. Okay, so let's walk through how this all went down. It kicks off around 732 BCE. Israel is basically a vassal state, meaning they have to pay a ton of money, tribute, to Assyria just to be left alone. But then their king, Hoshea, starts making secret deals with Assyria's big rival, Egypt. And with a new powerful friend in his corner, he does something unthinkable. He just stops paying. To the Assyrians, this was more than an insult. It was an act of rebellion, and it had to be crushed. And Assyria's reaction? Oh, it was absolute. You see quotes like this all over their royal records. There was zero room for negotiation. No, let's talk this out. You broke your oath, you faced total destruction. End of story. It was a terrifying message sent to anyone else even thinking of getting out of line. So, true to their word, the Assyrians came down on Israel with everything they had. They just steamrolled the Israelite army, pushing them further and further back until the last survivors were trapped inside their capital city, Samaria. This was it. The final showdown had begun. But they didn't go down easy. For 3 years. Can you imagine that? 3 long, horrible years. They're trapped, starving, dealing with disease, constant attacks. It's an incredible show of resistance, but let's be real, the outcome was pretty much a done deal from the start.
And then, finally, in 722 BCE, the walls came down. It was over. The kingdom of Israel was extinguished. The Assyrians poured into Samaria. But what they did next, that's the real key to solving this whole mystery. The Assyrian king at the time, Sargon II, kept very detailed records. And he tells us he deported this many people, 27,290, just from the capital city alone. And listen, this wasn't just random people or soldiers. He took the elite, the scribes, the artisans, the priests, the leaders, and skilled craftsmen, the very heart and soul of their nation. And this is so important to understand. This wasn't chaos. It wasn't just the messy aftermath of a war. This was a plan. It was the final, brutal, and, frankly, brilliant move in the Assyrian playbook. The people weren't just conquered, they were scattered, on purpose. They had an official policy for this. It was a cold, calculated imperial strategy. And the goal wasn't just to punish them. It was to completely erase their national identity, to shatter their culture into a million little pieces, making it impossible for them to ever unite and rise up again. It was like a two-step recipe for how to make a nation disappear. Step 1. You forcibly remove the glue that holds the society together, all the educated, skilled people, the leaders, and you scatter them to the farthest corners of your empire. Step 2. You take their now empty land and move in a bunch of other people you've conquered from totally different places, like Babylon or Syria. The thinking behind this was just chillingly effective. You break up any sense of national unity, you get rid of anyone who could lead a revolt, then you create this brand new mixed-up population in their old homeland that has no connection to each other or the land. The only thing they have in common, they're all ruled by Assyria. It was a permanent solution to the problem of rebellion. So here's the big reveal. The 10 tribes of Israel were never lost in the way you might lose your car keys. That's the wrong word entirely. They were systematically deconstructed. They were forcibly assimilated into other cultures, scattered across a vast empire by a deliberate act of policy. They didn't vanish, they were absorbed. So, there you have it. They weren't lost, they were absorbed. Which kind of changes the whole question, doesn't it? The real mystery isn't what happened to the people. It's how, after all that, their story managed to survive. How does a people's memory stay alive when an empire does everything in its power to erase them from the map? It just goes to show you, sometimes an identity can be powerful enough to outlast even the mightiest of empires.